All right, with just days until he leaves office for the last time, President Biden admitting his regrets about how it all played out.
Mr. President, do you regret your decision to run for re-election?
I think I would have beaten Trump, could have beaten Trump, and I think that Kamala could have beaten Trump. But I didn't want to be one who caused a party that wasn't unified to lose an election.
Well, now even one CNN host says nonsense.
She ran against him and she lost. So that's just nonsensical.
Well, I think he was trying to give her kudos for running a strong campaign. I think he was.
I think he was trying to backtrack after he's been spending the last couple months, like basically dissing her.
No, I don't think that's fair.
He says I could have won.
Fox News contributor Joe Concha joins me now. Joe, good morning to you. Okay, two-part question. What do you think about the president's comments and the reaction to them?
They are not based in reality, Carly. Look, Joe Biden's own internal polling showed him if he were to stay in the race, would have lost to Donald Trump. Trump would have had 400 electoral votes if Biden stayed in, because Harris jumped in and then the media got behind her and tried to paint her as some sort of, joy candidate, the suburb brat. She's going to be great. She's actually not the vice president you've been seeing over the last 3.5 years. Well, it turned out that Donald Trump only won 312 electoral votes every swing state. She only won 226. So Donald Trump turned 48 of 50 states more red when compared to the last election. The Democratic brand is broken. It wouldn't have mattered who ran. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Josh Shapiro, Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom. They would have lost because the country is going in the wrong direction. If you look at poll after poll showing that 75% of Americans think that it is going in the wrong direction. And look, it's clear after what we saw at the Kennedy Center last month, after what we saw at the Carter funeral last week, that the Bidens do not like Kamala Harris on a personal level. When you see Joe and Jill Biden and Kamala Harris and Doug Emhoff, it's like looking at the Starks and the Lannisters if you watch Game of Thrones. Two families that didn't like each other, and Carly clearly watched Game of Thrones. The fact is that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, from a political perspective, Carly, that was an arranged marriage. Joe Biden said that he would only choose a woman of color to serve as his vice president back in 2020, which basically left him three choices: Stacey Abrams, Karen Bass, and Kamala Harris. And Kamala and Joe never liked each other, reportedly, because they're going to go off into the sunset now, with Kamala possibly being the next governor of California if she runs, or the 2028 Democratic nominee. I'll tell you this, if that's the case, the latter, 2028 Democratic nominee, Carly, Republicans will surely embrace that rematch if it's Kamala versus J.D. Vance, for example, because, again, she's not a good candidate at all.
One can only speculate. But, yeah, you don't need to be a body language expert to see how prickly things were between the Bidens and Kamala Harris at the funeral. Okay, we also got to dive into the changes that Mark Zuckerberg are making at Facebook, with getting rid of the left-leaning fact checkers. Also going on, Mark Zuckerberg went on Joe Rogan's podcast and talked about the immense pressure that the Biden administration put on him to delete things about COVID that were true, AKA tried and true government censorship. So add a new twist to this. The CEO of another left-leaning fact-checking organization, Snopes, is weighing in. Watch what he had to say.
Let's look at the most famous example of Facebook censoring content, and that was the Hunter Biden laptop story. And we say, well, it was fact-checkers, right, who told Zuckerberg to limit the reach of that? No, it was the government. If Kamala Harris would have won, would he be taking any of these same actions now? No. He complied with what the government wanted then, and he's complying what the new administration wants now.
So, Joe, what do you think about this? The actual government censorship and clear admission of it happening, and Mark Zuckerberg's latest actions and the reason behind them?
Well, look, the CEO of Snopes wants to stay in business. That's why he's saying that the government was to blame as far as, the fact-checking that went on after COVID, for example. Like, maybe the coronavirus came from a lab that studies coronaviruses in Wuhan, China, where the actual virus originated. So when Facebook would censor an argument like that, it was so utterly ridiculous. And this is why fact-checkers need to start updating their LinkedIn page at this point, because they had been exposed to be just as biased as the people they're supposedly fact-checking. And I love the fact that Twitter, now X, Elon Musk, they have this thing called community notes, which is basically crowdsourcing of an argument if it's made on that site, if it is false, if it's a lie, it's going to be community noted. And once it is, that's the end of the argument. Let's do crowdsourcing instead of one person, a fact checker that may be biased, deciding what is and what is truth. I prefer to go to the masses and then decide from there.
Well
so,
placed.
yeah, the argument's ridiculous, and that's where we are now, Carly.
Yeah, well-placed air quotes around the word fact, because we all know how that shapes up. Joe, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.